The New South Wales government hopes an inquiry into the impact of pornography on young people will help address growing social issues. In a New South Wales first, the Standing Committee will look into the impacts pornography has on body image, respect and consent, and deepfakes or AI-generated content. A report last year found that nearly a third of children had seen pornography before turning 13. Well, joining me now is the New South Wales Women's Safety Commissioner, Dr. Hannah Tonkin. Very good morning to you. What is it that this inquiry might be able to achieve?
Well, this is a really important and timely inquiry. It is the first inquiry of its nature of any state in Australia. So it's really critical. And it's going to look at the impact of pornography on young people in particular. So emotional impacts, mental health, physical health, social relationships. And it's also going to look at resources for parents to support their children. And as you mentioned, the role of deep fakes and AI-generated pornography. So it's really wide-ranging.
So who's being engaged in the inquiry? Is it the children themselves? Is it the industry? Who?
It's a parliamentary inquiry that will be cross-partisan, and it will open for submissions, and there'll be hearings as well. So a range of different people will be able to make submissions. It's really critical to have the industry engage in this because the industry is really important. The social media companies, the other companies in the industry, they have a really important role to play in protecting children. But we also want to engage much more widely with the general public.
There's been studies done about the impact of pornography online and on children. We know what it does. You've researched it yourself. I mean, it's the next step, isn't it? I fail to see how a parliamentary inquiry is going to take that next step.
This is about building the evidence base. You can really understand those connections, particularly in relation to children and young people. We do know that children are accessing pornography from a very young age, but also that they're often stumbling across it inadvertently. So it's important to understand what are the restrictions on pornography, particularly violent and misogynistic pornography for young people, what more can be done, what are the possible solutions, and also building the evidence base in terms of how pornography, particularly violent and misogynistic pornography, actually impacts attitudes and behaviour. So we really need to drill down into that.
Yeah, and that's one aspect of this inquiry that troubles people the most is the violence, the misogyny on that. We kids have in the past have seen pornography, but it's the evolution of pornography and how it's portrayed in this social media world.
That's right. It's also the increasingly young age of exposure and the fact that many kids are stumbling across it. The E-Safety Commissioner's research showed that a third of children who'd accessed pornography had actually accessed it by accident. They weren't looking for it. So it's a combination of things as well as the content of the pornography itself.
What do you know about how seeing pornography affects a young person's self-esteem and body image?
Well, that's something that this inquiry will be looking into. And of course, it will be different for everyone and it will be different depending on the age of the children. Many older teenagers will access pornography out of curiosity, but for younger kids, it's a really challenging time for their development. It's when they're developing their ideas and their understanding of gender, relationships, sex. So it can be really impactful.
And then there's the other aspect of this, as I mentioned at the beginning, the AI-generated content. And we've had a case here in Australia where deep fake has been used and portrayed onto girls. I mean, the way technology is going, it's way ahead of what any of us can do at the moment.
This is a vastly growing problem, and it's where technology is used to alter images and alter body images as well. And then often these deep fake pornography images can be shared online, and there can also be extortion, what we call sextortion. It's really a growing problem. So this is very important for the inquiry to examine this issue.
Just briefly then, Hannah, when will it report? When will we know any outcomes from it?
I'm not sure. It was only referred from the Attorney General today, so it's just starting now, and those details will be released soon.